Welcome everybody to our next hug for B2B Technology USA. Today we have with us the lovely Christina. She will be talking about advanced HubSpot automation strategies that you, B2B tech companies, can put into action today. I am not Christina, but if she goes to the next slide, I am Jen. I'm the owner of Kiwi. Hello, we are a HubSpot Platinum Solutions partner who works just with growing B2B technology companies, which is why we have a special interest in this particular audience and learning about these sorts of great HubSpot automation strategies. And with that, I will hand it over to Christina.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Jen. As Jen said, my name is Christina. I am a marketing executive and revenue leader. Recently, I have won the Zapier Marketing Ops of the Year Award, Demand Gen Reports B2B Marketing Technologist of the Year. So I love everything in terms of automation and ops. So I'm really excited to give this presentation to you guys. And this year, I was asked to be on the HubSpot Customer Advisory Board. I have over 35 HubSpot certifications. And then the fun facts about me, I have 3 dogs, so very crazy household. Lexus, Nike, and Mowgli. And Mowgli is named after from the Jungle Book because I love Disney as well. And Cleveland sports, I'm sure I saw a lot of Cleveland people in the chat. So I'm hoping you guys are Cleveland sports fans too. And I love traveling. So we are going to get into it. I'm going to be talking a lot about automation, and it's not just marketing automation, because a lot of people, when they are thinking about automation, they think just marketing automation. So we're going to talk about that omni-channel automation across all departments, and then really dive into that sales and marketing alignment and processes and automation you can create with that, advanced lead scoring, and then AI and automation and how great that is and how you can create some really awesome processes for that to scale your company as well as just help processes throughout your organization. So the benefits to automation across the company, like I said, it really does help with that cohesiveness of your departments, but it also enhances the customer experience. It increases efficiency, your collaboration throughout your whole company, and the scalability of your organization. So I have a question for you guys to kind of answer in the chat panel right now. When you guys are doing automation, how many departments are you thinking about when you're creating those strategies? Is it just marketing? Is it sales, CS, and marketing? How advanced are you guys with that? And what are you focusing on? So if you want to go over to the chat panel so I can take a look and see. If you don't want to answer, it's totally okay. Okay, awesome, Austin. Cool. Awesome. You guys are pros. That makes me so excited for this. Okay, cool. Awesome. So the key to successful omni-channel automation is to keep the customer at the center of everything. I always describe it as the customer at the nucleus. And I think last year when I did a RevOps B2B hug with Jen, I talked about the customer at the nucleus as well. I've said this for a while now, and it's super important because without that, you really can't grow your business to what it can be, because listening to your customer throughout all of these experiences to build better experiences is super important. So if you're on the side of sales and marketing just doing automation, you might have heard in the past from sales, sure, we get leads, but they're junk. And so marketing is like, hey, like, what the heck? And you're like, really, you could put your mind to anything and succeed if you wanted to, but really that's not a cohesiveness, and that's not a cohesive way to really grow an organization. So with CS and sales and marketing in mind, think of it as a love story. And I'm not even a T-Swift fan, but I figured this was a good gift to kind of explain the realm of what I'm trying to get across and how I'm going to be presenting some strategies to you guys. So with sales, CS, and marketing alignment, you really want to involve all leaders and especially the sales leaders and CS leaders, because they're the ones talking to your customers. And with that, and involving them within your lead scoring, it'll help provide sales insight, buying adoption, continuous improvement, increased efficiency and productivity, better conversion rates. And remember, lead scoring shouldn't be just a one-time activity. If you guys are currently doing lead scoring right now, do you guys just set it and forget it, or is it a continuous thing that you guys really try to improve on your processes? I'd love to see where you guys are at with that, because I can give some tips on the next coming slides how to actively kind of have that growth driven design mindset, but within your lead scoring and automation. So when do you guys check in or update your lead scoring? And Jen threw that in the chat, so I didn't forget it. Okay, cool. Okay, what exactly is it? Okay, awesome. I love these questions. Okay, awesome. So lead scoring, you can think of it in two realms. A lot of times people just talk about lead scoring in the terms of getting like net new leads and scoring them based on their habits within your website and interaction with your marketing materials. Yes, that is a very big part of lead scoring, but we also should be using it in the retention and adoption side as well. And I will be talking about how you can implement that starting today, and a couple things you can do for that in terms of its scoring and its lead scoring, but it's also really automation based. So one that I've implemented, it's probably one of my favorite, and it made the most impactful start, I guess you could say, when we were kind of relaunching our CS department, was client health scoring. And that's all really calculated through a workflow. And to first create that, you do need to create like a field property. And we've done it on the contact level field, but then we created a lead score, or like a company health score, essentially based on all of the other configurations of the contacts associated to that company. I know that sounds so confusing, probably, but you really can just do this straightforward if you wanted, in the sense of a contact property and then just copying those details onto the company. And with HubSpot, you can change up and really customize that overview panel you have and have it based on teams that you've set up within HubSpot. This particular workflow and automation that we created helped really increase our retention rates, as well as focus on those customers who have been in the red, or the red square emoji for so many weeks. And that's triggered based off of behavioral events that we've created within our own app within HubSpot that triggers all of those events. Another thing to also think about when you're thinking of these automations and the scoring of how your current customers are doing, and you can also think about this if you have a free tier, because essentially those are leads because they're really not paying you yet, and you want to get them to that threshold to be a paying customer. And what you can do is also see if they're attending calls, if they're booking calls with you, if they're replying to emails. A lot of those actions are scoreable, and you can use that to help with the health score. One of the really big problems, I will say, when you are creating this, you just have to make sure to continuously update that workflow based on what's a priority within the business. So when you're thinking about your lead scoring, I would think about it as a like segmented approach versus just a full arching approach with sales, marketing, CS together, because that's going to help you break it down as well as be organized. One thing I will comment on now, and I'll talk a little bit about later, just based on the responses to when you guys update your lead scoring, is if you think about it in the sense of just your business and the fluctuations of a lot of things in your business, with whether that be like people or like heads, people working for your company, whether that be net new or customer success with adoption and retention. Those things change all the time, and your strategies and your goals change probably periodically. I would say for me, I've been in the B2B space for most of my career. A lot of the times it could change like quarterly or every like 2 months. And especially with the economic times that we are in, you really have to see if this is working or if it's not working, and what can really change to say, hey, this is what's really closing our deals to that closed one setting. One thing with this is the conversation between sales and marketing. You really need to have that in place. Otherwise, you're not going to really know what's working. And that is kind of going back to that mindset of, oh, they get us leads, but they're just junk. You really don't want to have that synergy, or also having that just expectation of, oh, we get a lead from marketing and they're going to book a demo, but they're not going to do anything. And having these workflows in place are really going to help that communication one between sales and marketing. And it's not even like talking communication, it's that respected communication in the sense of, we get that you want to close leads, and so does, like, obviously so does marketing want to help influence that, but it will also help the trust within those two departments and CS. And one thing I will really want to harp on is, don't just nurture to do it, but you really want to nurture by their intent. And there are a lot of ways you can do that. If you have this tier in HubSpot with customer behavioral events, you really want to implement that within your site and within in-app actions, because that can help, especially from the free tier to a paying tier. And then that can really help as well if someone has downloaded an ebook, but they've never really attended a webinar or downloaded a case study. Their intent's probably not going to be as intense as someone who has downloaded a case study, just based on the information in those elements. So we're going to talk about lead scoring and automation a little more. So this is where I really want to have you guys answer some questions I have specifically on lead scoring and what you guys are doing. And first, I'm going to ask, does anybody use lead scoring for their retention numbers? Let's see. Nope. Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. Awesome. Sorry. Well, I love that a lot of you say no, but that just means there's so much potential like post this webinar. I will send you guys a like step-by-step on how to create it for the retention. I couldn't take a screenshot of the actual workflow, but I will be following up with Jen and sending you guys how to set it up within your own instance. So with the same mindset of CS and lead scoring, and I say this in quotes because I know it's not like technically lead scoring, but it has the same methodology and mindset of it. Do you guys use it for adoption at all? And when I mean adoption, I mean within your product, so in-app adoption. Okay, awesome. Cool. So this is the same mindset in the sense of how you can really create that for people, for your retention to increase. And when you're thinking of lead scoring for retention and adoption, which one do you think is more important to start with first? Adoption from Jillian. Cool. Okay. I have to agree with Jillian because adoption, of the product is super important because it also goes along with the onboarding side of it to make sure that they are educated. And with adoption, the more they adopt it, the more likely they are to have those or retain or stay a client. And the ways you can do that is just really educational workflows. And that can be really finding out different pain points that they have within your product. And those are not just those product update emails they're not just marketing newsletters. Those are really conversations to have, and you can have these all automated. It doesn't have to be a sales or CS person sending these out. It can be that continuous communication with your customers. What I've done in different ways is you can either use like a HubSpot form or a Google form on feedback, and or you can use HubSpot feedback like surveys, depending again on like tiering. But there are ways to just have that link either always in um, their email footer or really on your website. It could be on a CTA kind of like hot button in your software. Because for me, for an example, I work with HubSpot a lot on feedback on their software. And that makes me feel like they're like listening to me and that I'm kind of part of that conversation with the bigger picture of their product. And that's not like the only reason why I love HubSpot and the product, but that definitely helps me think of how it can help others, but then also help the business in itself. So when you are using those strategies, that's when you really want to go back to the slide I was kind of talking about in terms of internal feedback and surveys. Have those meetings on a quarterly basis, just because you want to have all of your teammates in line with what you're doing and what the customers are saying, because your product team also should be involved in this, because they could be implementing things that your customers are saying, hey, we really didn't like want this upgrade. But with the surveys kind of being spread out throughout the whole organization, that can just really enhance and kind of advance your automation strategies throughout the whole business, internally and externally. So we're going to break down the education and communication side of it in terms of automation. I know I've talked a lot about customer behavioral events, and some of you may not have those. And so ways that you could kind of get away from that, I guess you could say, kind of get around it, I mean, is create buttons or CTAs that you add throughout your site. And that can be with personalized content, so smart content for your customers versus your net new or visitors, and send those regular newsletters and updates to specific groups or personas of people, and create those automated lists to help your team figure out who to send those to based on their actions. And again, you can do this however way you would want to do this, because there are some actual like their tech products or tech SaaS companies that specialize in things like this, like in-app tours and things like that. But you can kind of create your own if you are scrappy and you're a small team and you have limited budget. There are ways around that. And the biggest thing I will say is just to really encourage your users to talk to you about your product, because that is going to help your automation skyrocket and really be so tailored, because you're so ingrained in your own business and you read the blogs that you read the ebooks that you read, you go to the people that you really like look up to in that growth marketing B2B space. But really hearing from your customers and having that relationship is going to help your automation strategies even more, because it's going to save time. It's going to essentially save money, because time is money. And you're really going to get down to that ICP on what they're looking for. In terms of performance tracking and optimizations, you can do this again with another external app like AppQues or something like that. But you also, or Pendo, you also can do this kind of in a smaller way with HubSpot. And that can really track your team as well as track your customers, and analyzing their own habits in your technology is going to help you change your automation strategies in a quicker fashion. And it really depends on how you trigger those actions, is really dependent on how long it's going to take you to either recreate or just change those workflows in a quick manner. Having adoption workflows is going to really help your customers feel, and they're going to sense a change when you are communicating with them in a way that is actionable to their business and not just a mass email of, hey, this is a new product that we have or a new feature that we have. You really want to be intentional with that based on the feedback that your customers have given you, the habits in the platform, and also a thing that I haven't really talked about much on here, but I do want to mention it, is it's really good to get feedback from customers who have left you, because there's a reason why they left you, and probably 9 times out of 10 they've left you for a competitor. You want to know why, because that is a way to have an automation campaign. And yes, this is a marketing one, but it could be a sequence coming from like sales or CS to win them back and win their business again. So right now, who uses, and this is, I'm curious to this, who uses AI or anything in terms of like ChatGPT, Zapier within their automation strategies, and how many apps do you use to kind of put it all together? It doesn't have to be right within HubSpot. It can be something like Zapier and other integrations within HubSpot, but how many do you guys on average use in your automations? Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. I am going to share this video with you guys on a Zap that you could probably start using today if you want. And I'm going to give you guys the prompt for ChatGPT to use with this. And there is one extra step. Yeah, I love ChatGPT, Liz. With this Zap that I have not added to like the public template for it, but I am going to switch over. Hold on, you can probably hear me on that one. Let's see. I'm going to switch, like stop sharing and switch over so you guys can see it. But the really cool thing is this app, for instance, it combines ChatGPT, it combines Excel, Google Docs, and HubSpot, as well as Slack. So I'm going to I'm going to start sharing this screen. 1 second. Let's see. It's going to even let me know if you can hear the YouTube, because sometimes, let's see. Hi, my name is Christina, and I just wanted to come. If you can't hear it, I can walk you through it. Okay, perfect. I'm on here and show you a Zap that I've created to really help me out, just be more efficient, and I can give myself some brain space, I guess you could say. And I was showing this to my friend Tamara, who works at the Marketing AI Institute, and she's like, wait, you're what? Show me this. And she was like, holy crap, I need to show Paul. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to show all of LinkedIn, because I know times are crazy right now. So this might be able to help or inspire you to build something like this. I will say that I've had so much inspiration of so many different people from Zaps they've created with open AI. So take a look. So it all starts with a Google Sheet and a question. Actually starts with also asked. Sorry about that. Input it here, but I'm just going to show you an example. So let's see. How can I establish trust on my e-commerce website? Now you have a dance party until you get that Slack message. Here it goes. So now I got a message in Slack because I created the Zap to say, hey, it's ready. come on over here, and there it is. Obviously, you should add more to this, but this gives you a really good starting point. And then it goes over to HubSpot. Well, first, technically, it goes over to the Chat GPT to ask to write that piece of content in the form of a LinkedIn post and the form of a Twitter post, and then sends it automatically over to HubSpot. And then I get another ping saying, hey, social's ready to view. I know there are so many other things I can add to that. Like once it's done being edited, I can add it like final with the title and have it be then pushed to HubSpot at the blog post. Like there's so many things I could do that will help with automation, but hopefully this gets you started and motivated. So I'm going to switch back over and switch screens. There is one other step with that, where are we? Here we are. That it then auto like does a draft for a blog post right within HubSpot, and then it slacks you, hey, it's ready to review. Obviously, like I said within that video, it's not, ChatGPT is not perfect. You do always want to check that work and kind of make it your own, but it really does help you get a starting point within the within just like the creative process, just because, especially like for me, my team is small and we needed more help we needed a lot of help, and having that kind of be that extra level of a person in multiple aspects of our workflows and automation, it has helped us so much. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pick one of you guys, and if you give me one of your and I say issues, and I don't mean this in any way that's like negative issues, but a thing that you're kind of trying to work on, and maybe it's a manual task. You're like, gosh, I wish I can think of an idea to help my team and create an automation around that. So I'm going to pick maybe two of you guys, and I am going to help you guys create that. And I will like write it out and work through it, because I'm sure so many people on this call are also in that same boat as you. So if you want to type in your struggle with either automation, or whether that be a specific workflow or process you're trying to create within your business, I can read them, and then I will, on this call live, I will talk through how to do that and how you can do that through your organization, and I can give some tips on some technologies to use as well. So if anybody's brave enough, they can type it in the chat, and I can help you guys out. If no one's brave enough, I have an idea, a suggestion of one that I have recently seen. Let's see here. Remember, Jen, I actually require tacos, so it's not technically free. Joking. Okay, okay. Okay, cool. Okay. Let's see here, reporting.
Chris had a question here. He wanted to know if you wanted just marketing automation examples, or if you're cool with like deal and company objects as well.
Yep. Deal, company objects, custom objects, anything. You guys can. I know it opens a full can of worms, but yeah, I feel that flipping through a list, that's awesome. Okay, trying. Okay, cool. That makes me laugh. I say to create workflow. Okay. Okay, this one's good. I can. It's a lot of React. Okay, awesome. Okay. Trying to. So one, I'm gonna this is not like a work through one or one that I'm gonna include in those two, but Daisy, in terms of the sales outreach automation, If you have sales sequences, I was yep. So I will say that's very helpful to use. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't think of how to write an email that doesn't sound salesy, that we're trying to just demonstrate value. Honestly, you can use ChatGPT to kind of get some ideas on how to create that. Like I've asked ChatGPT to write a um like 10 series email like sales drip campaign that is like a one-on-one. I have a whole list of prompts that I've used for this, and again, I can share that with you guys. I just have played with prompts a lot in this manner, and it really helped us create very quick non-salesy sequences that really resulted in closed one, and most of them for us did it helped in the upsell side just because they were value based, and these ones specifically were going for free tier and like that first starter tier. Okay, yeah, awesome. And I mean, I guess I don't even know if ChatSpot, like HubSpot's one, would give you email. I think it does. Yeah, it does content ideas, so you could use that. But in terms of if you want a full list of them, I mean, I've asked for many emails in that, and so you can do that as well. And I can help you with those prompts as well, Kristen. I am going to look. There's this one that a lot of people react on. Where is it? Okay, the best way to create workflow where we score leads on engagement and then transfer those leads through a workflow to sales to go through. So I have done this in different ways. One way I will say to start is obviously just depending on what engagement you're thinking about in terms of like open clicks, website visits, calls, video meetings, things like that. But one way that we have created a custom view, but also in a workflow manner, is within the left hand panel, the cards, I think, yeah, the left panel of HubSpot on the contact view. We did a section or called Good Fit, and if that is there, they and we would train the sales team on this. They would know like, okay, this person's a good fit, and then it would populate what they were a good fit for. And that is all triggered based on their actions that they've created in those engagement areas. And it's triggered and that's populated like which field would be in that area within a workflow. So when you are basing them on engagement and transferring those to leads, it's on that content view, but then also it is in a list, and then you have a rotated, and we do a weighted rotation for leads, and then it slacks that team member who is assigned that contact, and from there they'll see that good fit view, good fit client, what they'll see, and like how they'll see like why. 'Cause basically it breaks down what tier, what package, and the kind of the realm of what they would be successful, what they would get success out of our product with. And then the last little property in that area is the information they filled out, just so that our sales team member sees that and knows that, but half the work's already done from them. And then within that, it also connects with, and it kind of goes to Daisy's comment on having those like value-based non-salesy, is creating snippets to go along with all of that. Yes, that's not automated, but it is automated in the sense of it's already pre-written for that team member to use within their emails, and that's within their email, like in Gmail or Outlook. It doesn't have to be just right in HubSpot. So that's one way that I have done it, created custom views. Custom views are awesome. I talked about that overview panel that is really helpful when it comes to CS, but it's also really helpful when it comes to sales, because you can change those fields in there to say something like the last time they've landed on a page of yours, the last piece of content they downloaded, things like that, because you can really see their intent. And also with that, especially when it's date based, you can create lists to then have the sales team work through that. And another layer to that is you can automatically create tasks. Some people hate that because they could get so many of them, but it really just depends on how you train your team on how to go through tasks. I have someone that I know that is a wizard at like automating his own tasks and just like going through them when he's like cold calling, because he is a BDR and he just has that structure. But it's really based on how your team is. If it's more of that cold calling basis or an inbound organization, it dependent on that is how you can really structure those automated tasks. I am going to look at other one. Let's see here. Would it possibly to show a few? Okay, let's see. Let me see. So, Krista, before I like show a workflow, I have been like in the ideas forum, and I think it's still there. I don't fully remember if I submitted this, but I've suggested within like the HubSpot, but also in the reporting side, is having a dashboard, a report that essentially is a summary, an AI summary of all the reports within that dashboard, just so you can quickly see high level wins and losses and don't have to go through the whole dashboard. That would be incredible. Because I like to kind of give an overview on dashboards when I'm sending them out, but having an AI area of that would be so amazing. I think I have it in community. So again, I'll follow up with Jen with that so you guys can upvote it, because that would be so helpful for everybody. But the way to do that now, when it's not within the dashboard, is with ChatSpot. You can ask certain questions based on your data to see what it pulls back. Because I've asked, like, what is the top company in California, like top annual revenue and top ARR in California, and then it like gave us to, instead of me having to go through finding it, it can just quickly find it for me. That's super helpful if you have any plugins for ChatGPT. Okay, let me see. Okay, Hector, for yours, there is, if you're using something like Zoom Webinar, that plugin with HubSpot will help you track like registrations as well as who came, who like didn't show up, and then sending the reminders. You can create that just based on the triggered off of a date. Those are ways that I've done it. And a lot of the times I will say I have had more success if I use the reminders with, like, if I'm using Zoom Webinar, that it's automated through their like webinar system, having those come, because more people are used to seeing those as like, hey, remember your webinar starts in an hour in that Zoom format. But either way you do it, I'd always say tracking is very important, because then without that, you won't know if something's successful, and it could be a waste of time and a waste of money, which neither of us like. So that's a way to do that. And if you haven't, if it's not like a Zoom webinar, or let me see, it's in person. Oh, I totally read that wrong. Thank you for correcting me. Oh, okay. So with in person, it's possible to connect. Okay. Okay, interesting. In terms of in-person event, if they come to the event, and you could either have it be you check in, and Eventbrite would be something you could use, and that would automatically connect to HubSpot as well. You could connect that. Let's see here. Okay, let me try to see if I can help with, and then the direct mail. Okay, we have a limited head count, and okay. Okay. Having, you could also do use the HubSpot app when you are at these events, and for your in-person events, to, if it's someone who like didn't register but it's there, you can add it right within your CRM and have it be the source, like the original source could be name of in-person event. And then you can track that and you can track the ROI from that. That's what I would do in terms of in-person events. But there are other ways you can do it with different tools like Eventbrite, like I said, or having a landing page people fill out even when they get there to enter to win XYZ, and they have to have a password to enter in. There's different things you could do around that to like save budget essentially if you're limited on that. Let me see. Okay. I have, let me see. I'm trying to see. So I have one, let me see this workflow I can show you. 1 second. I'm gonna show my screen for a workflow to go through with you guys live. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm trying to think of which portal. Okay. Sorry. It's asking me to, I sign in all the time and it just asks me to authenticate it. Sorry. Okay. I'm gonna find the one I'm looking for, and then last 15 minutes I'll do more questions. And Jen, you can ask questions too if you want me to go deeper on any of this. Okay, so one of them is, I'm trying to find one I can find that I can show you because some has data in here that I can't fully show you. Okay, before I show you one, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Do you, in your portals, are you guys using, do you guys have BUs? And if you do, are you running into the issue with like your preference center and only having like one preference center within HubSpot, but you don't want them to unsubscribe from all BUs? Because we've, sorry, yeah, thanks, Jen. Okay, cool. So Michael and Kristen, what we have done in a workaround, and I'll show you this workflow and a couple things with that. Let's share my screen, possibly. Okay, so this is, again, a workaround because hopefully one day we'll have the opportunity to have multiple preference centers for BUs, but essentially it all starts from a landing page. And the landing page, there's 2 separate ones for each of the BUs. And then the form will be filled out, and it will also be auto-filled, obviously, if it knows the email. But that landing page is a no index, no follow, so that nobody can just find it. And with that form, it doesn't automatically set them as marketing, but I have it set as non-marketing, just so it automatically sets them as that when they fill it out. So I've created a separate property field, and I'm not a person who likes creating so many new property fields just because it can get so crazy. But for this in particular, we created an email subscription field for this BU. We have 4 different options, and within these options, it would then automatically opt them out within for the preference subscription type, and that's all based on the emails that you create, and you set that subscription type within those emails. And then with all of this, it creates lists for each of these types of subscription. Each of these subscription types are created in individual lists. And then if they want to unsubscribe from all of them, it'll be a static list it is added to. And one thing that this company wanted to really track and look at is the unsubscribes for these. And this is this one's not turned on yet, so this is why I'm showing you this one. But it is, as you guys know, in HubSpot campaigns, you can pair a lot of things together for these. So for this one, it shows you each of the landing pages, the forms, and the workflow for this, because the next step for this is going to be a win back workflow if they've unsubscribed from just one of those options. And then it will do like a go-to action within the workflow that is being built out right now, and that whole strategy is. But the way to get around it is, yes, you do have to build a landing page, but with that workflow, you can have it set the opt-outs of the various subscription types for your actual preference centers. Awesome. Cool. And Kristen, if you need like more help on that, or if you want to have me just look at your workflow for it, I'm happy to do that, just because I know when I've created workflows that I'm like, I don't really know if this is going to be what I want long term, because with that workflow in place right now, once it has the ability, or once HubSpot has the ability to have 2 separate preference centers for BUs, it'll easily be changed just based on that trigger. And it probably wouldn't even need that workflow anymore because of how you set it up with that opt out, but it already will be opted out because that's what part of the workflow steps are. Let's see. What was the trigger for the, oh, I can show you. It was a form fill. So the trigger that started it is a form fill that was from the landing page created for the subscription center. So you can create, and it's, the form is honestly just an email, and then it says subscription settings or types. I forgot what the name of the field is. And then the 4 options, and it's multiple check boxes, with the idea that people most likely will just click one or all. And there is a way that we are testing. We're going to be doing an A/B test on this, because this morning we actually thought of the possibility that someone does all 4, and then we would have to do a separate option on that in the workflow, which can make the workflow kind of get crazy. And again, I'm all about lean fields and lean workflows just because it can get crazy. But that is one way that you can do it, in terms of having the form fill being the just basic email, checking what they want, what they don't want, and having that button be unsubscribe, because no one likes a confusing prescription either, but no one likes a confusing preference page, because I've been there where I thought I was unsubscribing, but I wasn't. And as you guys know, with HubSpot, that's not the best practice to do. And did you create? So in terms of opt-out options, in terms of like cadence, because that's for this like specific client, they don't have that really way of doing that, because it's very streamlined. But there are ways that we are going to be doing it, like replicating for their other brands, having it really based on opt-out options in the sense of SMS and direct mail, if that answers your question. Let me see. Does anybody else have other questions based on just like this workflow or other things that, okay, awesome, that you guys have? And please reach out to me. And I'm sharing my details soon. Let's see. And thanks for bearing me dancing on that video, because that's just my personality. Thanks for dealing with that. You can contact me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. I do a lot of videos on automation, AI, and workflows, which I walk through them all, as well as LinkedIn. But a lot of the times I gear towards like the short content on Instagram, so you guys can follow along and learn something, or just say, hey, can you do a workflow on this? And I can show you guys how to do it. What class I'm doing? Do you do a lot across other workflows? Yes. Yes. Chris, I will take this one offline, and I will reach out to you to talk through that one, because there is a lot of things when you are doing that. You just have to be careful in terms of making sure the data is like associated, or the objects are associated in certain ways. And there's a lot of things with that. But I definitely will reach out to you on this, because I have one that had basically updating deleting or like clearing things like that, like 3 different objects, and one was a custom object. So I will reach out to you on that one. But again, please reach out and I can help out when needed. Hey, Jen.
All right, I'm back. Catherine, yes, we are definitely recording this. So you should get the video link recording as well as the slide deck within, I don't know, give me 24 hours or so. We do lead these B2B tech hugs quarterly. So it's the second Tuesday in every quarter. So the next one will be September 12th. That's where Abby is going to be talking about a real life case study about how her tech company helped out their demand gen efforts with podcast advertising, which is something I don't think a lot of B2B tech marketers necessarily think of right off the bat. So that should be super interesting. Lots of examples there. And then I did put in the chat, we do have our December hug scheduled already, and it kind of piggybacks on is going to be talking about. Emma, our HubSpot director, will be talking about advanced lead scoring techniques specifically. So she'll do some screen sharing like Christina did, but all focused on lead scoring, lifecycle stages, cleaning up those marketing contacts within your database. All right, link for the next hug. I will go ahead and put that in the chat, but by signing up for this hug, you're now, of course, like any good marketing company, on our email newsletter notifications when that's coming up. Here's the link for the podcast hug. And again, the reason, if you scroll way back up to the beginning of the chat, the reason my most commonly used emoji is a kiwi, because that's the name of our agency, Kiwi Creative. We do help B2B SaaS and technology companies all day, every day with all the HubSpot automation stuff that Christina was talking about. So feel free to reach out to either her or myself, and we can help you get on the right page.
Awesome. And Liz, I don't know if you're still on, but I did answer your question. I couldn't like direct message or reply to you, but yes, I've used AI for data as well as code, and just a lot of like formatting, and also like project management and prioritization of things. So there's a lot of really cool ways you can utilize AI for that. And thank you so much, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye.